Does anybody know who Theodore and Audrey Geisel are? Congratulations! That's very good. So, it is. It's Dr. Seuss. So, this is actually a slide I didn't make for you guys. I make this for my college students. And what it says is from, you know what book? I have the book here. You probably all saw it. And maybe I see entrepreneurship and everything, but when you look at this, read this with me. Congratulations. Today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own and you know what you know, and you are the guys who will decide where to go. So, to me, that's about entrepreneurship. If you have brains in your head, that means you have some smarts, some intelligence that you do. And if you have feet in your shoes, that means you have some ambition and drive. It's up to you. You can do anything you want. So I think that in this country we have a lot of entrepreneurs because young kids read this and think that way. In other countries, they don't think that way. Now, for a quick test, you got to think entrepreneurial even if you're in a big company. You see all these names? A's and B's and C's. These are all brands of exactly the same product. Of a companies that have all gone out of business. There's thousands of them. Can anyone guess what brand they are? What they make?
The thing that made Twinkies?
Thing that made cookies is a good guess, but no. G's and H's and I's and J's. Cookies? No.
Cars and Twinkies.
Who? What?
Cars.
Cars.
I said that.
Nobody gets this, but you guys got it. You got quite a smart group today.
I said hat. I saw the hats.
But look. These are all American car companies that went out of business over the last 100 years. So there was hundreds and hundreds of car companies, and all but one went bankrupt. So entrepreneurship is important for all kinds of businesses, big and small. Now I want to talk to you about a few women, a few girls, okay, in entrepreneurship. You know, I don't know if anyone ever heard of Madam C.J. Walker. She actually lived up here in Westchester County, okay? She's the first American woman to be a millionaire. And she's the daughter of slaves. And she used to make 7 cents a day. And she was orphaned at age 7. When she was younger than you, she was orphaned. She didn't have a mommy and a daddy. And she made her money. She said, I got my start by giving myself a start.
Did she fight in the war?
She didn't. She invented a hair care product for women, African-American women, but more importantly, she invented a marketing thing, multi-level marketing, like if you ever heard of Amway or Avon, all those products, that's a way of selling that she invented. And she says if she accomplished anything, it's because she's been willing to work hard. So you got to be able to work hard, have brains in your head, and feet in your shoes. Now, I want to tell you about another woman. And this one lived in Chappaqua. And her parents lived in Chappaqua. And her grandparents lived in Chappaqua. Okay? So, Deborah Adler is a graphic design student who grew up in a family of doctors in Chappaqua. She recognized the problem when her grandmother accidentally swallowed pills meant for her grandfather. Okay? So according to a poll conducted by Target, 60% of prescription drug users have taken medication incorrectly. This is a local Chappaqua girl who went to this school. The pharmacy pill bottle remained virtually unchanged since it was introduced just after World War II. You know what World War II was?
No.
Back in like the 1940s.
1941.
So we're talking like 75 years ago. This thing has never changed. Now, all right, now it's your turn. Now you got to concentrate. So far I've got 2 very good answers. You know what these things are?
Medicine.
Medicine.
Prescriptions.
Right? Like this thing, right?
You brought one.
I brought one. Now, is there any problem with this? Because, you know, entrepreneurs,
yes.
Sometimes you have to think creatively.
Yes.
What's the problem? They need to make one.
Very child safe.
Okay, they have to make a child safe.
And perfect for elderly. So if like one is used to opening it in one way,
right,
they will be able to open it in one way with different lids.
Different lids.
All different kinds of lids, like switch lids.
All different kinds of lids. Good. Yep.
Make them taste good.
Make the medicine taste good.
I know, but I have one medicine that tastes great.
Okay, you ready?
It's hard to read the whole label because it wraps around.
It's hard to read the label because it wraps around. So,
what if the label falls off, you would know which one it is.
okay, good. Everyone has in their home, they've been made the same way for like 75 years, even though we're the most innovative country in the world. And why? Because we keep doing things just the way it's been done and not think of different things. So this young girl from Chappaqua recognized this problem, and that it's a curved bottle that's hard to read, it's tiny type, inconsistent labeling, confusing instructions, the details are usually on a separate piece of paper. So she designed this. Now, like if I asked you, where does the cap go on a bottle?
On the top.
The what?
Up top.
The top. Okay, but why does the cap go on the top?
So it doesn't
the cap
spill.
only goes on the top because that's the way you've always done it. Well, why not put the cap on the bottom? Because you said for old people it's easier for them to grab the bottle and turn it. So things as simple as the cap goes on the top isn't always the case. She put the cap on the bottom, and your idea of different colors, you get a different color ring.
For each person you
For
are.
each person.
I'm yellow.
You're yellow. I got yellow too.
Oh, yellow.
Now,
I'm a red.
okay? So you see that now, and everything's consistent, it's easy to read, but why was it round and why was the cap on the top? Just because that's the way it's always been done. And that doesn't have to be the way it's always done. So she went to school in New York City, and she made this for her school project, and Target saw it. You know the Target pharmacies across the country? They bought her patent, they gave her a lot of money, and it's so inventive that it's in the Museum of Modern Art. So, you know, not just people have to think entrepreneurially, or different, and maybe at the end I could ask you what you think entrepreneurship means, but even cities have to think entrepreneurially. Because we're all competing, not only are individual people competing for jobs and companies competing with each other, but even cities compete to get the jobs and companies, and countries compete with each other. So this is an example. New York City went through a lot of problems, but you can see here in 2009, after we had a banking crisis, I think everybody knows there's been tough economic times for the last few years. So New York City said we need to think entrepreneurially as a city. And now, well here, see 2009? So Mayor Bloomberg asked me, what should we do? So I told him that we, now New York City is the #2 entrepreneurship city in the country after Silicon Valley. Just to finish up, what do you think entrepreneurship means?
Like being a good company that everybody agrees.
Okay, being a good company. Okay.
Inventing and making stuff.
Inventing and making stuff. So a lot of it is something new, like innovative.
Yeah, creating new things.
Creating new things. Good. Anybody else? Okay. Okay. So it's not like a definite definition, but I think it's creating new things that create value, that add value, and solve a problem. So if you, like the way that girl from Chappaqua looked at the pill bottle differently, and instead of making it round, made it flat instead of the cap on the top, on the bottom, all that stuff, she was able to add value. Less people took the medicine wrong, and she created a lot of value for her and for Target, and solved the problem. So if you could think differently and solve a problem and create value, that's, I think, entrepreneurial. And when I teach my students, it's not so they can go and open up a company, maybe some do, but if you're able to think entrepreneurially and creatively and do and add value, make something better in the world, that'll be good, not just for running a business, but as a person or for school, for getting a job, and for hopefully having a enjoyable and fulfilling career. So that's a little talk on entrepreneurship with a couple local examples.
Any questions? We should ask Lucas a couple questions. Corresponds to a good question, don't you think?
Yeah, correspond. Say like the girl, and she like when she makes the medicine bottle. Yeah. What did she like think about? Did she think about like how to make it like how to make it like how to make it like did she know that she wanted to make it upside down?
That's a good question. I think what she did is that sometimes when you're older, you know when people are most creative? It's like your age. As people get older and older, they get less creative. Why? Because they're used to the way things are, and it's hard for them to see new things. So there's this kind of special age when you're still creative, but you have some technical skills and some design skills, and you're able to do things. So I think it's because she didn't study the medicine area, she just looked at the problem and thought about it very differently. But if she worked in like the medicine bottle industry for 10 or 20 years, her mind might not have been so creative. So she just looked at the problem, thought of a new way to fix it.
Well, I have a question, because like when people think of these ideas, how do they get it out to like the world? How do they get it out for people to know?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. So the most important thing is not the idea itself. There's an expression, ideas are a dime a dozen. A lot of people have ideas. The problem is as getting it out to the world, to doing it, to make it happen. And that's the tough part, and that takes a lot of persistence and perseverance, and passion. You know what those three P words are? So passion means you really believe in it and you're going to give it all your effort. Passion, and persistence means you keep going, and perseverance means you overcome those obstacles.
So they would maybe put like flyers out and go to their friends and relatives?
They would do that. They usually always start with their friends and relatives and put flyers out, or I run events like a pitch contest where people could come up and pitch an idea, and they get 3 minutes, and we give them $25,000 to go start their idea.
Really?
Yeah.
How about digital media?
How about, now these days, digital media, like social media, is a really inexpensive and easy way to reach a lot of people. So you guys heard of Facebook, right?
Yeah.
You know who invented that? My dentist's son.
Really?
Really? So,
He invented Facebook?
he invented Facebook.
He's still alive?
He's still alive.
Oh.
He's a young kid.
I thought Facebook was like 2,000 years ago.
No. It's only a few years old.
It's only like
Look at him, he's
30
going.
years
Yes, in your eye.
ago.
Wait.